How's everyone doing today? It's the Tabletop Tyrant, and today we're going to be talking about Bogurt Facebeater. So, just a quick aside, on Thursdays and Mondays, I'll probably do a little breakdown of some random characters because they don't take much time to do, and they're fun. So, I'm going to break it down a bit like this. We're going to do the lore, the end times for characters that have a conclusion, war gear, and then the stat line. So without further ado, I bring to you Bogurt Facebeater. Bogurt Facebeater made an appearance in the Storm of Chaos book all the way back in 6th edition. Storm of Chaos, I believe, was a supplemental campaign book that was narrative driven, meaning that the results were kind of taken across multiple storefronts and made into lore. I believe the Empire and Chaos were doing the best, but out of nowhere, Orcs and Goblins kind of just started wrecking people, and that's where we get the iconic Arcan and Volton face-off, with Grimgor kind of Leroy Jenkinsing it. Facebeater's lore, however, is a bit minute, but he was a fun mini and the model was super cool, and I saw him tied for Magnus the Pious in the poll. With this fun fact aside, let's dive into Bogurt Facebeater. So Bogurt Facebeater debuts with Grimgor breaking in heads in the Skaven Helpit, alright? Pretty awesome time in the lore for Grimgor, and also awesome for Orcs and Goblins because he meets its homie. And kind of as Grimgor's breaking in these heads and headbutting rat ogres and kicking people and rats when they're down, his ADD starts to kick in as it normally does, and he gets super bored and decides it's time to go find some other poor people to put his pain and wrath upon. While it's on this ascent up out of the hell pit, Grimgor kind of hears of this orc who's kind of plagiarizing his work. You know, he's hearing him headbutting rat ogres and just beating little ratlings to dust, and he's kind of like, I gotta check this out. What's this plagiarizer doing here and taking my moves? So Grimgor, his curiosity gets the better of him, and he's like, I gotta see this orc, I gotta see what he's about. You know, he's taking my signature move there. So he descends back into the hell pit, and sort of upon like getting down there, he sees Facebeater headbutting a rat ogre to death, and then he sees him just start punishing ratlings with his choppa. However, it wasn't this ferocity in combat that kind of caught Grimgor's eye. It was the enjoyment on Bogurt's face as he's committed these acts of plagiarism. But hey, as the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? After taking this in, Grimgor decided to leave Karak Ungor and found a new friend by his side to journey the World's Edge Mountain. Get wrecked, stunties. There were few words to describe Mr. Facebeater, of course. He was brutal, direct, and utterly uncompromising, which mostly means stubborn for the orcs. As Bogert kind of joined Grimgor's horde, he found himself taken back at Grimgor, seeing him as a living manifestation of Gork, which was a huge standard that he himself tried to emulate. Bogert fought in multiple theaters of war alongside Grimgor, and was even one of the few survivors who fought against Khram the Conqueror's forces. Now, we gotta get into the end times. Some people still don't like this part, and I don't blame them. However, we get a conclusion to his character arc. Bogert, still fighting alongside Grimgor, fought in the invasions in Nippon, Cathay, and would go on to fight in his last battle in Zarnagrund against the Chaos Dwarves, which we know how Black Orcs and Chaos Dwarves mesh. It is at Zarnagrund where it could be said that Mr. Facebeater and Grimgor personally toppled the idol of his ship. At the end of this campaign, Bogert got to thinking, maybe I'm better than Grimgor, and decided to challenge Grimgor himself. It was said that he put up a good fight, however, he was no match for Grimgor and was defeated. Fun fact though, towards the end of the end times, Grimgor was accounted for saying he missed Bogert's company. So be that as it may. So there we have it, a black orc who was noticed by Grimgor, raised to be his champion / lieutenant, decided to have overweening ambition, and got smacked down for doing so. Typical character arc in most Warhammer stories. So let's talk war gear here. So Bogert's never got an 8th edition update, so he stayed stuck in 6th ed. But however, that's not too bad, alright? You know, you can still dabble around, and I'll have the stat line listed below if you want to scribble it down. So Bogert was packing a choppa, Ardlad's Axe o' Doom, and Drog's Dead Ard armor. So the choppa was just like a standard orc choppa. It gave him an additional attack, but other than that, it was just simple. The lore doesn't say much about it. Ardlad's Axe o' Doom was taken from the body of Grimgor's former lieutenant, and is said to hiss with orc magics. Ardlad's Axe o' Doom was interesting. The axe gave him +1 strength, as well as the Gorkle Fix-It spell, which only applied to him, not the unit, and that spell granted Bogert a 6-up ward save. Finally, we have Drod's Dead Ard armor. No cool story, but it gives him a +1 to his armor save, making it, I believe, a 4-up. In terms of special rules, he had a couple. Quell Animosity. So, as we're going to talk about on Friday, tomorrow, in tomorrow's Orcs and Goblins lore video, Orcs had a quirk called Animosity. If the unit had the keyword before anything, you had to roll a die, and on a 1, you fail. And you had to consult a chart of some sort, and it had nifty little things that could happen. Some of those things being attacking your own unit, being lazy, or being forced to charge, or stay still if you're not within charging range. However, back on topic, Quell Animosity pretty much in 6th edition allowed you to reroll once. However, if you got a 1 again the second time, get wrecked and pray to Gork and Mork that you don't roll another 1 and attack yourself. So you had to keep the second result. Another rule he had was the Facebeater. Bogert fought in a challenge. Then in the beginning, in first close combat phase, he could smash his big orc head into the opponent. Now this is a little bit awesome because he got a strength 7 hit, and if you inflicted a wound on the challenger, it made them -1 weapon skill. So if you had weapon skill 1 and you were hitting a weapon skill 5, you needed a 5 to hit. So, oof. And even if you outright killed the challenge, you had to still do the rest of your attacks to make sure you got your overkill points for doing so. So pretty interesting and good stuff. However, with the ups comes the downs. So here's one of his interesting quirks here. Keep your enemies closer. Though Mr. Facebeater is Grimgor's favorite, that meant very little to an orc, right? So let's say Grimgor wanted to keep an eye on him, make sure there was no funny business.
No, what's mine is mine.
Oh, come on, Wolf.
No funny stuff.
This rule made it so Bogert had to be within 12 inches of Grimgor whenever he was deployed. So, you know, it's not too bad. You're not really losing a lot, but it can be annoying, especially deploying with a table full of models, to have to keep this in mind, especially since we're about to consider his next rule. Do as I say and what I do. This allowed Bogert to upgrade another unit of orc boys to biggins. Pretty big deal if he was deployed with them, and this cost absolutely 0 points to do. However, Bogert was not allowed to leave the unit, and as you know, with orc biggins, you're only allotted 1 unit per army. So the fact that you could take 2 was pretty awesome. The fact that the second one was free was even better. So now on to his stats. Bogert was 175 points, and a regular Black Orc War Boss was 135. That regular Black Orc War Boss had 2 more weapon skills, so weapon skill 7, 1 more attack, which put him at 4 attacks, and +1 initiative and to his wounds. So it's kind of crazy when you see Bogert. So Bogert's stat line was movement 4, weapon skill 5, ballistic skills 3, strength 5, toughness 5, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 3 attacks, and leadership 9. So it makes kind of some of his war gear a little redundant, like the Choppa giving him +1 attack, because it pretty much just puts him on par the regular Black Orc War Boss. The biggins, however, I would say would be his special thing. So with biggins, you got +1 weapon skill, +1 strength, and for 2 points a model. So even if you just put him in a unit of 20, you saved about 40 points, and that 40 points would make that Black Orc War Boss worth 175 if he could just do that. On top of it, he had a 6-up ward, and then to pair it with that, he also had a 4-up armor save. So he had a little bit more survivability, but 1 less wound. Be that as it may. What do you guys think about Bogert Facebeater? Should he have gotten the 8th edition profile? Do you guys think his character arc was interesting? And if you guys had a chance, would you run it? Let me know. Next Monday, I'll be breaking down Magnus the Pious, doing a little video on him. And tomorrow, Friday, we'll be doing the Orcs and Goblins lore introduction, so all of you can see what we're looking at. And eventually we're going to do a compare and contrast when the new lore comes out. So hang out with me and let's see how this goes. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow and seeing you in the comments. Any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And please look out for any polls in the future. Bye.